Attention, duped masses!
You're listening to Media Monarchy with James Evan Pilato.
You're listening to the Morning Monarchy for Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. I'm James Evan Pilato from MediaMonarchy.com. I want to continue something we discussed last week, and that's the Hanford nuclear site. It's up in Washington State, and it's basically where all the old nuclear gook got thrown into underground crates that are never going to leak. Except they are, and they did, and they continue to. Our Oregonian here, as again I come to you here from Portland, Oregon, as we have always been Media Monarchy in Portland, Oregon. They've got a massive series of stories under the heading Toxic Armories. In a former Montana National Guard armory where more than 20 workers got sick, lead-laced dust bunnies the size of tangerines clogged the ventilation system. In two Oregon armories where patients unwittingly let infants crawl, the neurotoxin blanketed floors at levels as high as 10 times the federal safety standard. In a Wisconsin armory classroom where pregnant women and mothers with infants learned about nutrition, the poisonous powder coated a desktop. Hundreds of armories across the United States have been contaminated by dangerous amounts of lead dust, an 18-month investigation by the Oregonian has found. The Defense Department and state National Guard officials knew about these toxic armories for nearly 2 decades, but moved slowly to address the problem, leaving soldiers, civilian employees, and children exposed. Records and interviews prove it. In Oregon alone, tens of thousands of people have spent time in armories covered in lead. Armories in big cities and small towns have housed tearful deployments, joyful reunions, and thousands of community events. They're civic landmarks where part-time soldiers drilled 1 weekend a month and fired weapons at indoor shooting ranges. But the firearms emitted an insidious form of lead every time a bullet left the chamber. The National Guard's neglect allowed the dust to spread beyond the ranges into common areas used by the public, including small children most at risk. The National Guard's indoor firing ranges were supposed to be well ventilated, cleaned regularly, and equipped with air filters to prevent lead from escaping. But in armories from Washington State to Vermont, people tracked dust outside the ranges by foot. Ventilation systems sucked in lead, spreading it to public areas and offices, sometimes as far as roofs, sidewalks, and the soil outside, according to inspection records. The scope of the contamination is staggering. Inspectors have found lead dust at alarming levels in armory gyms, drill halls, conference rooms, hallways, stairwells, kitchens, pantries, offices, bathrooms, and a daycare center. The neurotoxin contaminated coffee makers, ice makers, refrigerators, dishes, soldiers' uniforms, children's toys, medical supplies, water bottles, carpets, sodas machines, bookshelves, fans, furniture, heaters, basketball backboards, and a boxing bag. Even the deli meat slicer. The National Guard was put on notice about the lead problem in the 1990s. Guard officials pledged to identify which of their roughly 1,800 firing ranges were polluted, but they never followed through. The Oregonian did what the Guard failed to do, obtaining more than 23,000 pages of public records from 41 states and building a database from scratch. The database of 1,304 current and former sites offers the nation's most comprehensive accounting of toxic armories. Inspectors found lead in 424 armories in the past 4 years, or nearly 90% of the places for which results are available. In 192 of those contaminated buildings, inspectors found the toxic material outside the firing range. And that's just the introduction.
You're listening to Media Monarchy with James Evan Pilato. Since 2005, Media Monarchy has covered the real news about politics, health, technology, and the occult, all remixed with music and media that matters. Go to MediaMonarchy.com/support and become a monthly subscriber so you can help keep independent, non-commercial, alternative media going and growing. Thanks.